now, because we have a few more minutes, we started a bit late. We're going to now have our last speaker, Chikukwango, who's finished his PhD a few years ago in a very, very fascinating area in arts and the performing arts. And he is going to do something. Okay. So he's from Angola. He did his MA at SOAS, which is just around the corner, in the history of art and archaeology. So let's welcome him. And I think you are able to take the talk still, will you, or do I need to help him?
I just need to...
Oh, is it now? Okay, got you.
Hi everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm really privileged to be part of the conference, and I feel that my paper is, for the purpose of this conference, the whole idea is to give a perspective from Lusophone perspective, because I'm from Angola and being in a British environment, is quite a different experience. And my paper will give a reflection of my, in a way, it will be a biographical way of giving a visual understanding of my trajectories as a performance artist coming from Angola and arriving in Britain in the 90s and developing a series of work on performance arts and theatre, as well as being in the context of live art. So the title of my paper is Diaspora, Religion and Performativity, Angolan Symbolic Ritual and Narrative. So in this paper, I will be mainly looking at the background and the context of how my work emerged, as a diaspora, having experience in a completely different environment, having to learn the language and the culture, having to negotiate the space and an understanding of the environment where I found myself in the 90s. So in this paper, I'm going to be mainly looking at 6-7 aspects. So I'll be talk about Angolan history, my background, how my work emerged, my diasporic artistic influences, religious and ritual influences, and then I'm going to end with my practice. So all the points before my practice, in a way, is just to give a background and a better understanding of my work. So I'm going to start by looking at Angolan history. I'm not going to really, go into, the whole thing. It's going to be a kind of short and informative in a way, just to give a background. Angola went to a war, went to a drastic war, coming out from colonial experience during the 60s in Angola. We had to fight with the Portuguese to get independence. And in 1975, the country got its independence, but straight after independence, there was a civil war. And the civil war took 26 years. It only ended in 2002, and it was because of there was a nationalist party that fought against the Portuguese, but after the Portuguese left, they fought between themselves to gain power. And and this fight and civil war had a tremendous impact in me, and that's the main reason why I had to leave the country. But in the context of Angolan history, Professor Marisa Moorman, which teaches Indiana University, he teaches African history. She wrote a brilliant book that gives the context of Angolan history. Also, Adebayo Oyebade, which is a Nigerian American, who also wrote the Cultures and Costume of Angola, that gives a chronological and a very visual and a narrative way of looking at the history of the country, as well as literature and culture and its tradition. Growing up in Rwanda during the 80s, the country was under a tremendous war, and but although the country was in war, I grew up in Rwanda, in the capital, and it was more or less safe. But being in Rwanda, which at the time used to be the center of the culture, where people migrate from all parts of the country to Rwanda in order to settle themselves and run away from the war. And because of being in Rwanda, there was this experience of being and having all these influences from people in the country, come from different parts, and they brought their own culture and costumes and ways of identify themselves. And through that, I learned and I picked up certain creative ways of expressing yourself. And also the carnival is a big event in Rwanda. And then through the carnival, there is the center of expression of the culture. Also, because Angola has many different ethnic groups, and Chokwe mainly, which is one of the biggest in the country, that they preserve and have a very rich tradition of masks and masquerade, and they also play an important role in my formative years and ways of creating choreographic way of theatre and performance arts. So when I arrived in London, I felt that I was lost. I didn't know the culture and knew very little English. So, and having this traumatic experience of coming from a war country, I felt the way for me to reconnect with my culture and the way of grounding myself and find power, it was through creating these performances and using body paint. And I did some research, and at the time I looked at Nubia culture, and the expressive ways of Nubia identity, and having that frustration of being in this context. So I created this performance piece, which was the first performance I did, and the main idea was to ways of situating myself, and I did a performance that I paint my body 3 times with 3 different colors, which was green, red, and white. So this was a way of releasing and reconnecting with Africa. I felt that having to paint my body, it was a way of creating this link with Africa. And in this performance, I had the textile, although I was painted green, but I had the textile material, African textile, to create this physical connection with Africa and Angola. And in my work, because of being an environment where it's mainly dominated by the English culture, I felt that there was I wanted to do a performance, but I wanted to look at contemporary artists and reference. And I found Rotumi Fanikio, a Nigerian artist, that during the 80s, he created, through photography, he created this amazing type of work where he was working in the studio, exploring black male body and the whole idea of diaspora and being fragmented, having the fragmented experience, being away from home, and having this experience of race. So he created this work that, for me, I found that it was a reference point in order for me to create my work. He explored the Yoruba culture and tradition, and he was looking at symbolism and the ways of sexuality and desire, and how having this experience of war, because he also left Nigeria during the Biafra War, and so we, in a way, we had a common experience in a way, and his work also was focused on the black male body and sexuality, because he was a black gay man, and he was also kind of just opposing this idea of him reconnecting with Africa and using symbolism, but also sexuality. And in this work, he explored the whole idea of painting the body, and also using props and through photography, cutting the body and as a fragment, and using the body in a way that is out of proportion, and the body is there using iconography, black iconography, connecting with Nigeria, and then the idea of a mask, and also another influence was Fela Kuti. I looked at Fela Kuti's work, and it was a strong reference point for me when I realized that he, apart from him singing, he also conducted rituals. He, in his shrine, he was doing rituals 3 o'clock after his live performance in his shrines, and also because of he uses dancers, and then this whole idea of painting the body of the dancers and using Yoruba religion as a reference. He seems to, during his work, he paid a lot of respect to Yoruba spirit and the traditions of religion, not just in Nigeria, but in the diaspora as well. So I thought, I looked at Fela's work, although in his work there's this radicalism and critique of social experience, but what I found is what relevant to me was the fact that the spirituality, the sense of spirituality and the connection with the African tradition was a key point in his work. And also as reference, I looked at Guillermo Gómez Pena and Coco Fusco, which Coco Fusco is African American. She's a descendant of Cuba, and Guillermo Gómez Pena is Mexican. And they create this work called Couple in a Cage in the 90s, and they explore the whole idea of colonization and Christopher Columbus discovery of America. So they kind of critique this idea of celebrating 200 years of Colombo discovery of America, and the fact that they, by being in a cage, they did a reverse anthropology. They actually became the people look at the audience, the Western audience, and how they behave through looking at their experience on the cage, which was a mocking on the Western imperialism and the colonialism. And Guillermo Gómez Pena uses body and uses words to very much critique Western colonialism and the experience of dominating and discovering the other. Through creating my work, I felt, as Robert said, in my work I also try to looking at or explored the idea of internationalization and looking at a global narrative and connected with this experience through the experience of transatlantic slavery. And I look at Haitian rituals of voodoo, and is a reference point where my work looks as how they actually recreate themselves by being in the context of Haiti and being the way they creating their gods and reconnected with Africa, and specifically the work of Maya Derain when she traveled to Haiti, and her research and her work on Haiti also became a way of for me to recreate and looking ways of having influence on my work. And the whole idea of aesthetic and narrative of how the Haitian create rituals became a way for me to looking at how can I incorporate materials and baskets and props that has a reference with Africa, and also the aesthetic of Black experience in the New World. And I also look at Candomblé in Brazil in terms of reference, and also because of the close reference as well with Brazil and Africa, and how Africa and the Congo and Angola play an important point in the way Candomblé and Black religion in Brazil was constructed. So this work, in a way, informs my work in terms of creating choreographic ways of exploring space and using the Black body. So from here is my work. So this performance was a performance I did in a festival, where I wanted to create a ritual based on influence from rituals in Haiti. And in this work, I use the crossroads and ways of venerating my ancestors, and being in a space where my body became connected with my origins and a way of celebrating the blackness and the Black body. This work was a performance that it was in a park in South London, but it was a performance that I didn't have any audience apart from the people passing by. So this was, in a way, was a quite intimate performance where I did with my photographer. So we wanted to be in an environment where we're connected with nature. This work was a collaboration that I did with a Polish photographer. The whole idea of this performance, it was because she worked with Japanese Buto dance. So we wanted to see how can I position myself on my body in a way that relates with the Buto dancers in Japan, and see how a Black body actually is a reference point as well with the Buto and Africa, African diaspora. This performance was a performance I did at Parliament Square, and it was a specific, site-specific performance where I placed my body in the imperial space, in the space of the colonizer, and create that contrast of being Black, being African, and creating this ritualistic performance in a space which is an alien space. But I wanted to compare and see how, that contrast of doing this African diaspora ritual, in a space where is not meant to be a place, like an appropriate space, and see how that experience of being in that space would create that link between the body, the environment and the building, and knowledge of power. This was a 1 minute. Okay, 1 minute. What? Okay, this performer. I'm actually coming to the end. This was a performance that I did at University while I was doing my research, and it was a ritualistic work that was very much looking at calling of the spirit in a symbolic manner.
Do we have 2 quick questions, please? Yes.
I don't know if it's a question more than a comment, just thinking about how relevant your work is, particularly in this movement for Black lives and the reclaiming of the Black bodies, and the significance of reclaiming the body, healing for the body, and also recognizing that we've been commodified. Our bodies have been commodified, and being able to, for ourselves, be able to speak for ourselves the narrative of who we are, our whole selves. And so I just want to say thank you for this work. I don't think it's provocative at all, in the sense that it's kind of reclaiming our roots and bringing us back to a place of wholeness and healing and restoration. So thank you.
Any quick questions or observations? Was someone else? Yes.
Yeah, just quickly. The audience, when you're performing, because one of the pictures I saw a white guy drinking beer and he looked like he was laughing. So it seems like what you're doing is something quite sacred. So what does it mean to have an audience who are perhaps not on your page?
Yeah, that's a good question. I actually resisted to do this performance in a way, but because I was asked as part of my research through my supervisor, and I'm coming out with finishing my PhD research, so I created this work as a way as part of my academic work. So it was a quite big event where different people performed, and I was one of the person invited to perform as well.
Okay, thank you. Can we just give our... And also, all those other panelists this afternoon who really gave us some really informative insights. They challenged us to think more deeply, more profoundly about some of these cultural and political issues. Professor, did you want to ask something?
Have you found Rachael Harding's work helpful? Rachael Harding? Because of that.
No, I'm not aware.
She talks
I'm aware it's actually
Oh, I know.
something that I'm
Very well.
yeah, I'm going deeper more now after coming out from my PhD.
She got it initiated. She's a priestess. My time.
Okay, and she plays it for you?
Back and forth. She's in Denver, Colorado, high school theology and Salvador.
Okay. I'll be happy to introduce you to her.
Yes.
Well appreciated.
Thank you very much. Just give another round of applause, please. Okay, Brother William, all yours.
Thanks once again to all the presenters. Okay, we're moving into the last leg We're late, so I suggest 10 minutes for tea.